We're back, and I am joined by Stacy Black, our VP of Strategy.
And we are diving into St. Patrick's Day celebrations and Women's History Month and women-owned businesses.
Hello, and welcome back to the Long Island Tea Podcast, where we spill the tea weekly about Long Island and all the great things that we have to offer here. I'm Sharon, and I'm joined by a very special guest that we teased last week, Stacy.
Hi, everybody. Nice to be here.
Nice to be here. I feel like this is going to be a fun episode because, when Kristen's not here and we have stand-in guests, we like to kind of showcase our top talent here at Discover Long Island. And why don't you tell everybody, our hot teas, what you do here?
I am the Vice President of Strategy, and there is no prompt or wink here, but I want to say that working at Discover Long Island really is the greatest organization that I've ever worked at. I just want to throw that out at the beginning. I've had very cool jobs my entire career. I worked in cable television for most of it, and making the transition from the city living to Long Island living. I'm just really happy that I ended up in the tourism industry at Discover Long Island.
Oh, that's amazing. So I will ask you, how you doing?
How you doing?
How you doing? You got it down, girl. See, it's that Queen's vibe, I guess.
A little bit.
That's awesome. How you doing, though?
I'm good. I'm really happy that we are slowly transitioning into spring.
Yes. Goodbye, seasonal depression.
Goodbye, seasonal depression. January felt like 3 months long.
Yep.
But here we are in the first week of March, and I'm really happy. And what I'm looking forward to is seeing that little green rising from the dirt, that go-getter that wants to show itself first.
Yes.
And it will be like an immediate dose of just like caffeine
and happiness.
And happiness.
Yeah. You know what's amazing? By the time this airs, I believe it will already happen, but we will turn the clocks ahead and we get 1 more hour, right? We got 1 more hour, or we lose an hour? Sleep. That's what I'm talking about, the sleep.
We spring ahead.
Spring ahead.
So
fall behind. Right.
We lose an hour of sleep in exchange for
Sunlight.
Earlier sunrises and later sunsets.
Yes.
That is.
Thank you.
Also, just spring shout out to, and I know your son is active in sports. Shout out to all the parents that are beginning the spring sport schedule.
Yes.
Especially travel sports, all sports, whether it's in your town or not. But it is not for the weak.
No.
And this weekend, I'm actually going to Virginia.
Oh, God.
For a soccer tournament, which is just obnoxious enough. It's 6 hours. And that's each way. So driving tomorrow after work
man.
will be amazing to go through rush hour, getting off of Long Island through the city, Philly, D.C.
Yeah.
So just looking forward to that. So just shout out to all the parents that are dusting off the equipment.
It's happening. It's starting.
Yeah.
I just registered for baseball last week, and that starts the end of March. So it's beginning. Here we come. I can't wait. You know what that means? It's like warm weather ahead. It's happening.
Yes.
We're going to be out on that field just baking in the sun.
Back to back. I know baseball just takes up at least just only 6 to 8 hours of your day.
Oh, yes. It's funny, though, because he's in multiple sports. So he's playing deck hockey. He's in wrestling right now. And we're transitioning into baseball. And then he just told me the other day that he wants to do travel ball. And I'm like, I don't know if I can handle it.
Yeah. Also get a job. Please.
Get a job. There was this whole thing on News 12 the other day about how much the equipment is, like how much money actually goes into, leisure sports for the kids.
Leisure. It's cute. That the definition of that word might need to be altered for the parents.
It's amazing though. I'm really, really, I enjoy it. It is so much fun.
I do too.
I'm that mom. Like, he has to tell me, like, please stop.
Yes, I am known to yell on the sidelines. Maybe TMI for everybody's introduction to me.
To you.
But I did yell at an entire family last week after a basketball game as a result of a child saying something very inappropriate to my son, which in the moment I heard it, I laughed. And then I suddenly was not into it. Yeah. So that was a fun exchange that I regret and think about before I go to
Lessons
sleep.
learned. Lessons learned. I'm new into the wrestling mom world. And funny enough, he has a meet right after this, so I have to duck out. But he's liking it. I think he does enjoy it. But it's so hard as a mom to watch because you see him struggling and like can't, I'm like this close of going down to the mat and being like, get up.
Yeah, I've seen those
Yes.
moms go viral.
Yes.
I don't blame you. It's got to be really difficult.
It's so tough. But at the same time, last week he had a meet, and the school that he was playing against, they're well known as like one of the best schools on Long Island wrestling team. And they were doing this thing like, the techniques are sometimes to push down with your head and like to use your head and as like a bowl type of thing. This kid came at him and like headbutted him so hard. And my son had a bruise and a cut from like the headgear. I'm like, I hate it. It's so terrible. But he's like, it's enough, Ma. It's all right. And I'm like,
you know what I like to tell my son if he does not succeed in a particular sport, and I would, I'm sure you should tell your son the same thing, which is at least you're the most handsome on the field, on the court, whatever it is. At least we can walk away with that.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think I need to tell him that. The kid's so vain.
He's a very handsome child.
No, it's you're right. It's like shout out to this time of year because it's like the transitioning, the new beginnings. We talk about spring, the blooms, the green grass coming, and it's like it really does change a person's mental health, with the sun shining and the warm air. Like today, it's warm outside.
Yes. The problem with March, though, is that she's a little obnoxious. She can
get a little crazy.
Inconsistent.
Yeah.
And so, like you said, it's 55 today. I'm so grateful. And yet 4 days ago, I was worried about my son's physical well-being on the field when it was 20 degrees with vicious winds. I couldn't feel my feet. I'm jumping up and down like a weirdo. But it looks like we have made the real transition. There's no more freezing temperatures, I hope.
Okay.
And if there are, we know I jinxed it here.
Yeah. It came from Stacey. Thank you. Speaking of jinxing and things like that, did you happen to look at the planets last week when we talked about it at last week's episode about the planets aligning for the first time in decades? And it was like all 7 planets will be visible in line in the sky. I literally was texting everyone. Did you see it, Michael? Oh my gosh. I mean, it was amazing. It was beautiful. I mean, it was just perfect.
I just wasn't sure if you were going to say it was a sign of bad things to come.
No, because you never know. It's like I think Mercury is in retrograde still. The planets are aligning this way, whatever, or they're being visible because apparently they always align like this. You just can never see them. So
I'm bummed I did not see.
And it's also like things are happening, like just the weirdness of the, dynamics, I think, that are going on. I was talking to somebody today on the phone, and we had a Teams meeting set up. So, it's back to those days where we're like, you're still on mute. You're still on mute. And I texted her, I'm like, I'm just going to call your cell. Like, hang up, I'll call your cell. So I did. And she's like, I don't know what's going on with my electronics today. We had a blackout in our office. Like we had electricity loss last night due to the storm. I walk in the office this morning, and there's this screaming sound coming from Kristen's office. So I'm like, what is happening? I walk, and I'm like looking everywhere for it. I'm looking in our kitchen. I'm going down the hallway. Like I can hear this high pitch, like loud noise. So I'm like looking everywhere. And I finally found it coming from her office, but I thought it was her wall unit for the heater.
Yeah.
So I'm kicking it.
Obviously.
That's what you do. I'm kicking it. It's not working. I'm banging on top of it, like banging my hand on it, not working. So I'm like, what the heck? I'm turning it on and off, turning the cool air, hot air, going back and forth. And I still couldn't figure it out. So I go back to my office, and now everybody starts walking in, and they're like, what is that noise? What is happening? And I'm like, I don't know. I think it's the wall unit. I called the maintenance guy. He's coming to check it out. He comes up. I hear him hysterically laughing. And he's like, and he comes, and he's like a jolly guy, So he comes into my office, and he's like, come over here. I got to show you something. And I'm like, his name is Mickey. I'm like, what's up, Mick? Like, what do you got? He's like, either we're both getting too old, or I don't know, you're going crazy. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, come here. Do you hear it? I said, yes, I hear it. That's why I called you. I want you here to fix it. It's the wall unit. It's going crazy. It's really annoying. It's like literally screaming. And he's like, bend down. And I'm like, okay, all right. He picks up this like battery surge protector thing that she has in her office that when we do lose power, her computer can still work or whatever. And that's what it was. It wasn't the wall unit. Because he's like, bend down, listen to it. Do you hear it? And I said, yeah. He goes, I thought you were going nuts.
It's shocking that he found it. How would you track it?
It was loud. So I'm like, he's like, I don't know. You just got to maybe unplug it, plug it back in, or get a different surge protector. So then it gets better. I emailed Chris and I'm like, do we have any extra surge protectors? Because he's in this side of the office. And he comes in with it. He's like, what do you need it for? So I show him. I'm like, this thing is like screaming. Screeching. And he's like, gives me the look like, all right. So he bends down. He literally turns it on and then off. And it's
that's it. Mm-hmm.
I was like,
the equivalent of a Control-Alt-Delete for
yes, for the battery surge. But I'm like, it took 4 of us and then him to just come in and be like, boop.
It's like, how many DLI employees does it take to
change a light bulb?
Well, I'm glad the end result wasn't someone was actually screaming.
Yeah, no, it was so loud. Did you hear it when you walked in?
No.
Oh, it was crazy. Thank God. Anyway, we're rambling. We should get to the topics at hand, like our taste of Long Island. Yes. Today, our taste of Long Island is the Southampton Inn. And you know what's so cool? They are featured on this Monopoly board specifically. Southampton is a very good friend of ours, a great partner. For Women's History Month, we're proud to showcase their beautiful property. She was key in our Tourism Tuesday initiative this past fall, highlighting Long Island as a premier destination all year round. Between the charming grounds and super cozy amenities, this hotel should be on everyone's bucket list while planning a trip here or even on a staycation for our Long Island hot teas. March is also Pet Month at their hotel, so bring your best friends to stay for free all month long. Limit to 2 pets per room. And you should check out Claude's Restaurant, open now for breakfast and brunch for residents at the hotel or visitors in the area. Dinner reservations will be open as we go into spring. Again, you can find them on this Monopoly, and we are going to be giving it away with some other fun things. Long Island Tea Podcast on Instagram, where we will be announcing this giveaway. But if you would like to be a taste of Long Island, please reach out to our producer, Michael, at Spill the Tea at Discover Long Island to be featured.
One other thing just to mention about Southampton Inn. When I was there last, DeDe, the owner, gave us a tour. And Claude's, the restaurant there, they actually have like very cool jazz nights as well.
Yeah.
So there's like a step-up stage, which is cool. And then the hallway right outside of that has a lot of like very cool contemporary art. So it's sort of like the venue that keeps on giving.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have to say, a long time ago, I did a fam tour. And it was like the last day of the trip. Like we took, media around for Long Island for a couple of days, and then we stayed at the Southampton Inn for the last day. And the best beds.
Oh, really?
I have ever experienced. Oh. It felt like a cloud. Oh, like it was like, you're exhausted after being on for so long, and like you're literally talking all day long about the, area and things like that, and just really kind of, you just need to shut down. And I just literally went to bed that night and I was like, oh my God, this is the best bed ever.
You're like a character in like the bed commercials, and they just throw themselves
backwards. Exactly. And you fluff out. It was so awesome.
Quickly, I just wanted to mention also that they have their Easter egg hunt and Easter brunch this year on Sunday, April 20th. And you can RSVP at events@southamptonin.com.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I love an Easter hunt.
Me too.
Do you do that?
I do.
Yeah, it's so much fun.
Yeah.
I have this tradition in my house that I literally start my own egg hunt, and I'll leave clues, and obviously Braden's getting older and he knows it's me. But I do a whole thing. I'll make them go outside in the backyard, go down to the basement, come back upstairs, and they love it. It's the funniest thing.
I cannot wait to be at your house.
I know.
And join you. So thank you for that invitation.
You're welcome.
I will be there +2.
Yes, fantastic. Yes, well, I mentioned earlier, it is Women's History Month. Finally, thank you, March, for coming and being the baddie that you are.
Yes.
Georgina Reid, we talked about her a couple times, and we do have a Long Island TV episode about the Montauk Point Lighthouse. But Georgina Reid was a textile designer and inventor who played a crucial role in saving the Montauk Point Lighthouse from coastal erosion back in the 1970s. After developing a unique reed trench method to combat shoreline erosion on her own property, she applied this technique to protect the lighthouse from the encroaching sea. Her innovative efforts, supported by volunteers, successfully stabilized the coastline around the lighthouse, preserving it for the future generations. Reid's work earned her recognition, including a commendation from President Ronald Reagan.
Well done, Georgina.
Yeah. Did you watch that episode of the LITV where they talked about the history?
No, but I'm going
You
to.
have to go back and look at it because it was really incredible. Just what a driving force to like reckon with, you know, like she's like, don't come at me, see, I'm going to save this lighthouse.
Yeah, I love stories like that.
I do too.
There's so much history on Long Island, so it's nice when these things are highlighted too.
It is. It's crazy the amount of history here, and we talk about it all the time. But we can talk about some women-owned businesses here
Yes,
on
please.
Long Island, like the Wellness Shop in Port Jeff.
Yes, one of my favorites, Chronicle Wines in Peconic.
Yes. The Bellport Inn in Bellport. We visited there for the tea. We did a remote there. That was so much fun.
DeDe Chocolate in Cutchogue, which is basically like eating art.
Yes.
So just know
100%.
you may be torn between saving it and eating it,
Yes.
which eat it.
Eat it. It's good. And then there's RGNY Vineyards in Riverhead, which we have. They are part of our Belong series on YouTube as well.
Yeah,
Check them out.
very cool events there often too,
Yes.
which is very cool. J&H Jewelry.
And our best friend, Joy of Acupuncture, Dr. Joy Moy. She's located in Huntington. And there's a ton of them. I mean, there's, you know, we talked about Southampton Inn, Preston House, and Aaron Modern Beauty Rituals in Syosset. But yes, we are so proud to showcase these excellent businesses on Long Island.
Yeah, I mean, I think being a business owner is not for the weak.
No.
And so just empowerment and inclusivity, this is our month. So
Yes.
I love to hear it, and I love to just, you know, really be aware of who these business owners are so you can go and, you know,
Support them. Absolutely. Did you see that there's a commercial? I don't know if it's PSAG or something on News 12 every morning, and it talks about small business owners, and like it shows them waking up and getting their, you know, turning the lights on and unlocking the door and like going through the whole entire day, and then trying to close up at night, and like somebody will sneak in late, like right, and then they stay open for them. Like it's just such a good commercial.
Yeah, that is nice. I've probably been someone who caused someone to stay late on certain occasions. Sorry. My guilt, I couldn't get it out, but yeah, it's my bad.
Yeah, sorry. So, Stacy, why don't you kind of tell our hot teas about your role here at Discover Long Island? But I want to first talk about how we found you. We had a job opening for a digital marketing manager position, and I do the interviewing process first, and then I bring final candidates in to meet with Kristen. And so we had a Zoom meeting and we hit it off immediately. We were laughing a lot and I just felt connected right away. Like there was a connection there. And so I said, I wanted you to come and meet with Kristen, our CEO. And immediately you did, came in and we started talking to you and understood a little bit more about your background and project management and things like that. And we were both feeling the need that our organization at the time could really use somebody like that. There was a lot going on. There was, you know, we as a DMO constantly are running fast pace. And so we wanted somebody to kind of just really hold everything together as, you know, Kristen and I are out meeting, you know, our board members and, you know, different chambers and different partners and things like that. And there's a lot of things going on outside. And we want somebody to make sure that the execution was being done internally. So we brought you on as a project manager and quickly realized that your role would evolve because of your knowledge and experience throughout your, you know, career life, and just really how you really embrace our organization and what role, you know, what the role needed to be, and it really more focused on strategy. So
yeah, I will say just our first interview, I felt the same way. I remember saying to you, like, the more we speak, the more we're talking to each other, the more I'm like loving just what Discover Long Island does. I was obviously very aware of Discover Long Island, so an enormous social presence, if anything, and then a large marketing presence. So it wasn't new to me. But as our conversation went on, it just became like more and more engaged, both with you and really what the organization needed. I was very excited to meet with Kristen. I will say it was the first interview, maybe the second interview, which felt like it was very close quarters because there was like several of us at
Yes.
the table in her office.
Yes.
And she will tell you, like, I normally run it like I normally run it like a 6. I'm, no highs and lows, just basically. But I came in very hot that day. And I think I was just a combination of like nervous and excited. And so I just was like speaking really fast, and I just sort of like felt myself like sweating. And this is
typical nerves of,
TMI.
of an interview.
I wore like a very loud shirt with ruffles and red wide leg pants. And after it, just sidetrack, I just felt like I looked like I was interviewing at the circus. I was trying to be bold. It was, a marketing position and meeting C-level executives. So I wanted to make sure I wasn't just like in a gray suit or something like that. But yeah, I definitely feel like I embraced this organization really quickly because of the staff and because of the leadership. It really is very easy to fall in love with the work and the staff. We are a relatively small organization, but everybody really puts in 1,000%. I mean, we really, really are always going at 60 miles per hour, but maintain just like a lot of kindness and thoughtfulness for each department. So it was very easy for me to jump into that role and want to do more.
Yeah.
And so my background is primarily in project management, marketing, and then working with designers and production. And all that sort of lends itself to when I'm working with every single department and just really all coming together and working on that strategy and seeing, how can we expound upon what we did last year?
Yeah.
Or why did we do that? We know that's been working, but maybe we can, do things and have a 10% rise in something or some, a new idea and have it exponentially increase.
Absolutely.
So it just for my role working with every department and really just seeing, what their vision is, what each director of each department, what their vision is, working with you and Kristen, and just really making the most of our staff, our resources, and just really showing, locals, domestic and internationally what Long Island really has to offer.
Yeah. And I think I've said it, I just think we needed this position so badly and we didn't know it until we met you. And that's what was so eye-opening to us because we're like, hey, and I loved when I called you back and I was like, so there's been a slight change and you were super excited to step into it. And it's been really successful and it's really helped our organization and our team kind of just keep a steady thumbprint on things that are happening and making sure things don't fall through the crack or fall, and go in different directions where they weren't going anyway. So I think it's just really been helpful.
I think it's an absolute testament to the work done here that this stuff was happening even before this position was created because everybody I think people would be really shocked at the amount of work that gets done here in a given day, not to mention week, month, quarter.
Absolutely.
So I think, again, just a testament to the staff here and how dedicated they are, that without someone who is helping them, with helping to sort of not keep things in line, but just to make sure that they could balance properly and they could put something aside and work on this next thing because there was someone there to say, hey, I've been keeping this warm, but, we have to return to this and make sure, and just get things across the finish line.
Absolutely. And I think it's so true. Like you said it earlier, you were aware of Discover Long Island because of our social presence. I mean, but that's the amazing job of our social team that they do. They make everything we do look so much fun and make sure that, Long Island is represented well. But everybody says that every interview I ever have with any potential candidate, they say, oh my gosh, your job looks so much fun. And I'm like, there's so much hard work that goes on behind the scenes on the daily, and to do it with such a small and mighty team. And we are growing, but I think it's really an amazing thing.
Yeah, I think, there's a lot of consumer-facing stuff, which is easy for people. When you're interviewing people, that's what they see. So I saw that ad on the railroad, and I follow you guys on all these platforms. But I do just want to, it's important to note the stuff that goes on that people don't see that make Discover Long Island, tick. Yeah. Whether it's internal events or, just phone calls to partners, sales, bringing organizing fam tours, all that type of stuff. There's a lot going on here. It's not just what the consumers see, but there's so much that, has to go on here in order to make those consumer-facing things successful.
Absolutely. Part of your role as well when you first came on is taking on the organization and help of our Belong series. We're releasing we have our annual meeting coming up with our partners, and we're going to be unveiling these beautiful videos. So why don't you talk about your experience filming and, the whole entire start to finish, because it's again, these are 3-minute videos? Approximately, but the amount of work that goes behind that to accomplish this?
Yes. This was definitely a highlight of 2024. We are unveiling 6 new videos, partners ranging from aquaculture to bed and breakfasts, to activities, just, from A to Z, as far as activities available to you on Long Island. But the beautiful part is that you really get to discover the unique stories of anything from, small business owners to larger, well-known points of interest on Long Island. And so it is an enormous project. You start to, internally decide who we'd like to reach out to, who's got a really great story to tell, who is either known to the public, but they have a great story to tell, or a hidden gem that we'd like, to teach both Long Islanders and beyond about. So we reach out to those partners, we talk to them about what this is going to be, which again, ultimately ends up as a 2 to 3 minute video where these people discuss sort of like the history of their business, what they love about Long Island, and why they do what they do on Long Island. Because
their stories.
You could be doing, like for certain partners, it's here because it was already here, they took it over. But for others, they started a family business and they could have done it anywhere. Yeah. But they've done it here through the trials and tribulations, through COVID, through all these things where they could have picked up and either, moved to a different state, done something different. But they chose to stay here. And there's typically generations of their family here, generations of family taking over these businesses, but really learning these beautiful stories of, it's not just walking into a store, you buy something, the owner says hi, and you leave. Yeah. But it's what goes into it, how long they've been there, and there's an endless number of stories to tell for businesses and organizations on Long Island. And I think the 6 we've highlighted, I think will really cause people to pause. And not only just watch it when we unveil it at our meeting, but go home. And, ultimately this will be on YouTube. Yeah. But really log on to YouTube and share it with their family. Yeah. I can really see, people really sharing the link to others, and just, it's very inspiring, and it reminds people who maybe are jaded and it's been a long year, it's been a long whatever, but really, reminds you like what it is to live on Long Island, all the amazing things we offer here, all the amazing stories we have to tell here, and thinking that you might know a business or an industry, and really learning that, there's all these details that you don't know. And I think it ultimately causes you to be a patron of these businesses, or, it's just, there's beautiful stories. I'm incredibly excited to talk about it. And mind you, this is hours and hours of filming in a given day. Forget all the lead up, all the
planning and organizing,
all that stuff, and coming up with appropriate questions, and really making it seem easy, because it is conversational. We want people to loosen up and just tell us their story. Yeah. But it's, tons of hours of work going into it, all, wonderful, but it's a lot of work. And then you're there, and you're really, the day is hours and hours and hours of a shoot. And there's such good content that it becomes so difficult in the editing to bring it down, because it's like you could do, a lot of these, it's like just with the hours of footage you have, you feel like, this thing could be an hour long, but then it's almost like, my God, there's so much, this could be a 3-part series,
Right.
And, there's only so much time, and we want to highlight, there's so much to highlight. So, we're not making these, into 3-part series at the moment. Right. But it is really just, it's super gratifying work. And it's really nice when you see that twinkle in the eye of the people we're interviewing. And, or, we touch upon something, we take them to, seeing when their grandfather started this business, or a lot of these businesses work with, local schools, local school districts. And just when they say like, when the kids come in, I picture my own kids running through the doors, and or there were businesses that were going to be shut down, right? And one person's story about keeping it alive, and now it's a landmarked thing, and now it's and also embracing new technology, social media, all this stuff to draw people to their locations, and just understanding how all these different platforms will help people, will still draw people in and keep these businesses thriving and running for decades and decades.
Yeah, I love that because we love the emotional side of things. That's something that we do as marketers is just really capture that emotion. And I think that this whole entire series, our previous 6, you fell in love with them. Yeah. So I'm really, really, really excited to unveil the next 6. I think, our visitors and our fans are really going to enjoy it.
And I think also like just really sharing the diversity that is Long Island.
Yeah.
I think that's what these really, really highlight. Is that people are coming from different backgrounds, and just in our the last series, RGNY,
yes,
it's a winery from a Mexican American family.
Yes,
that is not something I think most people know about.
Right.
So I don't want to ruin anything for the new set, but
right.
Unveiling that type of information is something that we really pride ourselves on doing.
I'm so excited. Also in March is St. Patty's Day,
yes.
which is my favorite holiday.
You're Bayshore.
Yes. My parade's this weekend.
Big stuff. Yeah.
It's so cool. And it's funny because it's really like Bayshore, Huntington, I want to say Montauk are really like the really big parades. Like they do put on a lot.
Yeah. I think one of the cool things about Long Island is that however you want to celebrate, there is something for you.
Absolutely.
So you want a cozy pub, go for it. You want a cute parade for your kids, great. And then they'll just do like Irish festivals, like the really large ones. So whatever your sort of category is, there is definitely something for you.
And it's actually one of the things that I love about this holiday is it transitions through the whole month because of these parades and these local downtowns that do this. Yeah. So they're happening all month long, not just on St. Patrick's Day, but March 15th and 16th is the West Hampton Beach and Jamesport, St. James, Miller Place, Rocky Point, Bayport, Blue Point, and Center Moriches.
It's a lot to do that weekend.
It is.
Please make sure to hit all of those.
All of them. Support the downtowns.
And then following weekends, March 22nd to 23rd, you've got Hampton Bays, Brentwood, Patchogue Village, Ronkonkoma, and Babylon Village.
Oh, that's a good one, too. March 29th and 30th is Lindenhurst and Montauk. I spent many years going to the Montauk Parade. It's such a fun event. Again, like the festivities that go around it, like they have chili cook-offs and things like that. Oh. But even just to go out to Montauk this time of year, like I feel like it's forgotten about because it's it's all beach destination, but it's such a great time to go because you can really experience the town and
yeah, and it is nice to feel like that you'll see people, but to have it to yourself a little bit before the massive rush.
Exactly. But yes, if you can check out our blog at discoverlongisland.com/blog to see more of featured events for the St. Patrick's Day on Long Island.
This weekend on Long Island, Friday, March 14th. Islanders game, big one. I think the Oilers are number 2.
Big one.
So make sure to get your tickets.
Yes.
And then, of course, probably second wine reference that I will giggle at. So far, Wine Down Friday at 110 and Opus Steakhouse. I would love to see you there.
Yes, it's amazing. And Saturday, March 15th is I can never pronounce this guy's name, but he is hilarious. Sebastian Maniscalco.
Yeah,
Maniscalco at UBS Arena.
Maniscalco.
Okay.
My mother.
No, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe everybody I know is saying it wrong.
Right. Maybe it's Maniscalco. I don't know.
That's what I thought.
That's how it's spelled.
My mother will be there.
She will. She loves him. He is hilarious.
Yeah, very physical humor.
Yes, he's very animated. Like he chases the stage. It is so funny. Notes in Nature at Planning Fields. This is emotional landscapes for violin and piano. And then the Wilderness Survival Series at Vanderbilt Museum in Centerport. And Wild and Scenic Family-Friendly Film Festival at Bayard Cutting Arboretum. And Weekend Brunch at City Cellar in Westbury. I feel like that's a lot of nature this coming Saturday. That's awesome.
Welcome spring.
Yes, here we are.
It's actually a lot of nature and drinking.
Yeah. Go hand in hand.
I mean, it works for me. Sunday, March 16th, macaron and wine pairing.
You're stuck with all the wine pairings.
Yeah, I know. That did not happen by accident. But that wine pairing at Sinino Vineyard in Cutchogue, and then oysters and rosé at RGNY Vineyard in Riverhead.
Awesome. So for more events to check out and detailed info, please visit discoverlongisland.com. All right, I've been dying to get to this point.
Celebrity. Oscars?
Oscars, but first, do you want to talk about Spielberg?
Yeah. Steven Spielberg, the great, is currently shooting a new movie in Huntington.
I can't believe it. They are literally like shutting down all the parking, and like the residents are like, "This is great for the town," but like the parking, I can't.
I was just going to say, very cool to talk about, as long as you're not local to Huntington.
But that's so amazing. They're filming right out in the Paramount, right?
Yes, and I heard it's a movie about UFOs.
I was going to say sci-fi.
Yeah, but not a lot of other information has been
divulged.
shared.
Okay.
I'm upset though, because I will speak for you, assuming that you missed this as well. We missed the casting call for 18 to 70-year-olds that are interested in wrestling, that look like wrestling fans.
Okay.
And I just feel like that's obviously who we are. If anybody knows us here, it's our love of wrestling.
We missed our moment.
It's our calling. I mean, it may have been what propelled us to cinematic greatness.
All right. Dang.
But we'll have to keep our eyes open for those
going
postings going forward. Yeah, but very cool. I would like to just thank my mother, related to Steven Spielberg, for not being aware of the age at which I was watching certain Steven Spielberg movies.
Sure.
So I would say probably at 5 years old, I learned of my fear of sharks as a result of watching Jaws.
Yes.
And many decades later, whenever I'm in the ocean, I am pretty sure that in the shadows, a shark is lurking. So,
yes.
Yeah. So thank you, Mom.
Thanks, Mom.
For that. Yeah. But Oscars?
Oscars? Real quick before we go on to sorry, I keep putting them off.
No.
But just an FYI that I learned this morning, speaking of filming on Long Island, did you know that the most recent episode of Severance, or I think, it'll aired by then, was filmed at Nassau Community College?
No.
Yes, the opening scenes. They were in the community college hallways, and then they filmed in the library too.
Very cool. I just started Severance.
Yeah, you love it, right?
I am behind. I am really only just a couple episodes into season 1.
Okay. I am behind as well, but I finished season 1, and then season 2 kicked in. Do you know that Ben Stiller is the director of this?
I did see it.
Doesn't that blow your mind?
Yes.
It blows my mind that Ben Stiller is directing this series, because it's not anything that you would expect.
Right. There's no sort of obvious humor.
Right.
Yeah, you have to dig in for the humor.
Yeah. Would you consider it like a dramedy?
I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to dive in a bit more.
Yeah.
To get like a good handle on it all. But I'm like a massive binger. I haven't really been able to binge it just yet.
Yeah.
But I think I was told.
Why, is it too dark?
Yeah, and I'm good on dark. I just feel like, I mean, I can really spend a whole weekend. It's sort of like maybe not something I should be bragging about. The laundry didn't get done, the dishes didn't get done, but I watched like 3 seasons. But maybe next weekend.
Yeah.
I want to dive in and get through season 1.
Do you watch White Lotus?
Yes, that I'm caught up on.
Completely?
Yeah.
So how do you watch it? Through Optimum, right?
No, I watch it through Hulu.
Or
cinema. Like I don't have cable.
Right.
Yeah.
I have cable, and that's how I watch it. And it's like so frustrating, because the way, and I complain to Chris about this all the time, the way they give you like the sneak peek of what the episode will entail, it makes you think that those things happened in the episode prior. So I'm constantly like, I didn't see that. Right. So I keep going back to that episode. And see,
you're like, I'm stuck on episode 2.
I cannot get past.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'm doing something wrong. Hatsi's right in. Tell me if you're like an Optimum subscriber.
Just
help me
move forward.
But then you don't want to miss out like a really important information.
It's true, and there could be a scene.
Yeah.
Like if you just miss some sort of interaction.
And those episodes aren't short.
No, and they're weird. So like you really need to try and catch everything. Because it may prevent you from really understanding what's happening next. I enjoyed the way the season started, and I can't remember if the other ones did, which is sort of like ahead. Like I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but the first,
like they start it as
they start it like in the future, and then we're brought back to like how it started.
Yeah.
So we haven't even, I think the most recent episode, we haven't even been introduced to like one of the first characters that we meet in episode 1.
Okay.
But I'm very excited.
Yeah.
I love the show.
I love that show, and it's all about hospitality and tourism. Like that's so amazing.
It is. How do we get them to come here?
We need a beautiful, beautiful resort
Like Gurney's.
like Gurney's. We should talk to our friends at Gurney's.
Yes.
I love it.
This is the start of something great.
Yeah, see?
It happens here.
Cinematic, what did you call it before?
Just cinematic greatness.
Cinematic greatness. We're going to start it. That's awesome. Okay, Oscars.
Oscars. So Anora was a big winner. I have not seen it yet, but I would like to.
It looks interesting. What is it about? I can't tell. I can't tell. Like, is it a love story? Is it?
In a way. It is about a Brooklyn sex worker.
Oh, okay.
Just cut the mic. That very quickly marries a Russian oligarch. And her parents rush to annul the wedding, but it's highly focused on
her career.
That industry.
Okay.
Yes, but
she's only 25 years old.
Yes, Mikey Madison also is on one of my favorite shows of all time called Better Things.
Okay.
Totally different than what this movie is. It's with Pamela Adlon, who, if people don't know the name, look her up. She actually does the voice of a male character on King of the Hill.
Oh, that's funny. That's like Bart Simpson. Like it was a woman.
Yes, whose name escapes me right now.
Yeah, mine too.
But that show is amazing. But back to the Oscars, a lot of it took place in Brighton Beach, and I grew up. My grandparents lived in Brighton Beach, and they were right on the Atlantic Ocean, and it just reminded me of when I would go into the ocean in the 80s, not to date myself, but I would go all the way out into the ocean to where my feet couldn't touch the ground.
Right.
And at that age, I was probably 3 feet tall and 27 pounds.
Right.
But it was the 80s.
You're still 3 feet tall.
5 feet tall. I made it to 5.
Yeah.
But it was the 80s where our life was always at risk.
Right. There was no paying attention.
No paying attention. So I just remember sort of like the waves starting to like go over my head and pulling me in, and I just see my mom yapping on the beach, assuming I was going to come back.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of close ones. But I did like that there was a shout out to Brighton Beach.
Yeah,
it's
that's
close
awesome.
to my heart.
That's good. I love it. I didn't watch any of the movies that were nominated or won, because I'm a big series person, so like it takes a lot for me to sit down and watch a movie. But the fashion is what I watch it for.
Yeah.
What's her name? Ariana Grande. That dress, the pink one, like the Glinda Witch one. Oh my gosh, gorgeous.
I like Cynthia Erivo's dress as well.
Yes.
Which I think is a departure from what we see her in sometimes.
Right.
And not to move away from fashion, but I loved their duet. And I think it was the first time they've done it live.
Oh my gosh.
And then the way Ariana Grande sort of bowed out and gave Cynthia Erivo her space so she could belt it out.
Oh my gosh. That I did. I had chills.
Yeah.
Like it was
Very
amazing.
moving. But connected to movie is one of the reasons why I don't tend to see the Oscar-nominated films is because the minute you put me in a reclining seat in the movie theater,
You're out. I know. Me too.
I might not even be tired. It doesn't matter.
I know.
But it's just like, I don't know, maybe I don't even need a bed in my home.
It's the darkness. You need one of those reclining
like with like popcorn. Like I need to really set the exact scene, have some popcorn crumbs in it, something. But that is why I tend to not see. But they do come on streaming pretty quickly or pay-per-view.
Wicked is the only one that I did watch, and it was just such an incredible movie.
So good.
Their performance, like you said, was just absolutely amazing. But we were talking earlier about Queen Latifah.
Yes.
That was awesome.
It was nice to see her. I love her. She's so talented, and I feel like people just consider her, sort of like a female rapper. She played such an important role in that. But she has pipes.
She's got pipes. And she performed so well.
Yeah, it was a nice tribute to Quincy Jones. And I just remember, like, as a kid, trying to belt out Ease On Down the Road in the shower and using a voice like that, like Cookie Monster.
Trying to get it, trying to dig deep down there.
But she did a much better job than I did.
That's amazing.
But yeah, the fashion as well. I just feel like, people really bring it.
Yeah.
What did you think about Timothée Chalamet's banana colored?
There was like some memes going on about like Curious George. He looked like man in a yellow hat. I really was talking about this with the team the other day. I'm like, I really don't know why he's so big. And Alexis is like, because he's in everything right now. I'm like, yeah, you're right. All right, I get it.
I think we also age out of his
we probably
fan
do.
base.
Demographic, yes.
Yeah, I do like seeing, they'll show clips of him like at a high school talent show where he's doing like a hip hop dance, so that's cute.
What's her name? Zoe She played in the Isabella Perez movie.
Oh.
Her speech.
She was the first.
Zoe Zaldona.
Yes,
Yeah.
Zoe Zaldona.
She was the first Dominican woman to win the award.
Yeah, and that speech, I literally was on my couch sobbing.
Yeah.
And it hit me so many different levels. Like the one when she first literally stood up and she's like, Mommy. I was like, she was looking for her mom. And then she was talking about her sisters and she's like, you're my everything. Like
you're making my eyes water.
My kids come, Mom, what's the matter? And I'm like sobbing.
She's also on a shallow level. So beautiful.
She is so beautiful, right? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It was amazing, that speech. And who was the other one? He gave a 4-minute long speech. What was his name? It was like the longest ever Oscar.
Just
and
like
they allowed
ignoring the music.
Yeah. This was the first Oscar he won in like 20 years.
1 second. I'll cut this. Adrian Brody.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yes. He is not a first. He's won. It's just been a while.
It's been 20 years.
Yeah.
Since his last Oscar. So, I mean, I think he felt the need to take the stage.
And he should. He's played
a
really,
4-minute
really
long speech.
beautiful roles
Yeah.
over the last
He has.
decades.
Yeah.
Few decades, I guess. Yeah.
Literally tells the music, turn off the music.
Yeah, that was so crazy.
And they did. They turned it off.
That was so crazy. I feel like there was a lot of things. I mean, I don't love Conan O'Brien.
Mm-hmm.
Some people do, some people don't. I've never found him really humorous.
How do you really feel?
How do I really feel? I used to watch like Craig Kilborn. That was before Conan, I think. And like every time Conan would come on, I'm like, oh, yeah.
Where did he go?
I don't know. His book is awesome.
Really?
Yeah, he has a memoir.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I haven't heard his name recently.
Yeah, he was good. That was like 20 years ago too.
I know.
Crazy.
We're a couple dating ourselves reference here. Sorry. Did I bring that on us?
What other fashion? Because that's what that's what I was there for.
Adam Sandler.
Oh,
Bringing
that's
it.
right.
Really bringing it in true Adam
Yes.
Sandler fashion.
Somebody was saying the other day, like, I think he plays basketball in Port Washington. I'm like, yeah, he lives in Port Washington.
Is that where he lives?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
We should have him on.
we should.
I'll make the call.
Michael, get on that.
Funny enough, and when Kristen's listening to this, she'll love this. James Murr
Yes.
from Impractical Jokers is coming back to the Paramount.
Yes.
So stay tuned.
I can't wait.
We can maybe see about getting him back on the show.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
And we should have him come in the studio.
Yeah.
That would be
for
fun.
Sure.
Any more celebrity?
Nothing that I can think of.
All right. Well, I loved having you on this episode with me. You're
Thank-
fantastic.
Anytime. It was a pleasure. See if Kristen can go on
More
another-
vacations.
More vacation.
I can't wait to hear about her vacation. She was really looking forward to it. And
The pictures, they looked very cute.
Exactly. It was
Girls,
so much
them
fun.
as a couple, it was
Yeah.
very, very cute. I don't want to forget
Okay.
giveaway.
Oh, yes.
At Discover Long Island for a pair of tickets and private VIP table at CM Performing Arts Center's performance of Escape to Margaritaville.
Oh, that's amazing. So we're giving that away on our Discover Long Island social. So follow us there and be sure to tune in to our Long Island Tea podcast social to win your very own Monopoly Long Island edition.
Very cool.
Hamptons edition, I'm sorry. And we look forward to seeing you next week.
Thanks again, guys. Tune in next week.
The Long Island Tea Podcast is brought to you by Discover Long Island, thanks to our generous sponsor, Sands New York. Visit sandsnewyork.com for more information. For exclusive access to contests and promotions, follow Long Island Tea Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and X. And for questions, comments, and collaborative inquiries, email spillthetea@discoverlongisland.com.